One sheet of traditional Vietnamese dây gió paper can last 800 years. But the craft of hand-making it is dying out. Only a few families in Bac Ninh province continue to transform bark into paper. The process can take weeks, sometimes months. Phan Văn Tum runs one of the last workshops in his village.
Cho đến giờ phút này thì anh cũng chưa nghĩ đến làm cái gì khác cả.
As far back as the 13th century, this paper was widely used for printing historical records and making folk art. But industrialized paper mills have brought this craft to the brink of extinction. So how is this centuries-old craft still standing? The two trees that make the dây gió paper can be found in the forests of northern Vietnam. Workers harvest the bark between August and October, when it peels easily because of the heat. Tum is one of the last traditional dây gió paper makers in Nhung. He's been working in one of the last handicraft villages for 40 years. Today, he employs a small group of people. They soak the bark and cut it into 2-foot-long pieces and separate the good kind from the bad. Grinding is one of the few steps that is done by a machine.
Ngày xưa các cụ toàn giã bằng tay chứ không có máy nghiền như bây giờ.
But it still requires some physical effort. Tam pushes the bark with an oat stick to help it move through the grinder until it turns into a fine pulp. Sap from strips of wood from the maw tree will make the glue for the paper. Soaking it in water helps release it. Tum was 20 years old when he started making dây gió paper. He learned the trade from his father and takes pride in keeping traditional techniques alive.
Tức là giấy thủ công của mình làm thì nó sẽ để được lâu năm hơn là giấy máy.
Even the tools they use are handmade. Nguyen Quang Wang is the last sieve maker in Nhung, who still makes the wooden frames that shape the paper from scratch.
Nếu chú làm thợ mộc thì là khoảng hơn 40 năm rồi. Vì chú làm khuôn này thì là từ 30 năm trước.
His frames can last up to 3 years and are essential to getting the paper just right. If the dimensions are even slightly off, the paper could be ruined.
Thì khi xeo thì là cái lề này là những cái lề hay là những cái gió này là rất nhỏ, nó mới lọt ra cái chỗ đấy là cái tờ giấy nó rất bẩn.
Nguyen Thi Do begins forming the paper. She's been doing this job since she was 12, and her years of experience make her one of the best workers here.
Cái này chị làm cũng lâu ghê rồi, 33 năm.
She dunks the frame into the pulp mixture and sifts it until a perfect layer forms on top. It may look simple, but it's a skill that requires years of training.
Mà bỏ ra ngoài đây mà nó bị rót như thế này, ví dụ như thành vào tờ thì nó sẽ rúm thì cái tờ đấy mình lại phải bỏ đi.
She uses a bamboo screen to separate the paper. It is also made by hand. Do Duy Thai has been crafting these intricate folding screens for over 40 years. He's a 6th-generation bamboo maker and only sells to local artisans. Do is so fast and precise, she can make 1,300 sheets in one day. She brings the stacks over to the press. It slowly squeezes the excess water from the paper. Tum has been using the press since he opened his workshop in 1982. He peels and sticks the sheets onto a wall one by one and coats them with an extra layer of maw sap.
Cái nhựa này có tác dụng tức là để nó tách từng tờ giấy một ra. Sau khi mình múc thành tờ giấy.
They stay on the wall for a week until they're completely dry. Paper making was the heart of the economy in Nhung for centuries. People used sisal paper to make books and dungo paintings, a popular folk art used to decorate homes during the Vietnamese New Year. But demand dwindled when paper factories opened in the area in the early 90s. By 2020, 75% of Vietnam's paper was factory made.
Thì sau đó cả làng luôn, hàng bao nhiêu trăm hộ để vẫn làm cái giấy này thì là bị mất nghề. Mất nghề đấy, sau đó người ta mới đưa vào làm máy.
Today, Tum mostly sells the paper to museums and national archives. Although he's kept the craft alive in his community, he still worries that it may end with him. Younger people haven't shown interest in preserving it.
Con nhà tôi thì nó cũng tìm việc khác nó làm rồi. Mà nó cũng làm được cái việc khác rồi, cho nên là cái nghề giấy này nó bị vất vả quá. Thì đâm ra là chúng nó cũng không muốn theo.
But Nhung is trying to change that. She founded the ZA Project in 2013, a non-profit focused on preserving traditional papermaking in Vietnam.
When you touch the handmade paper, it's a very different feeling when you touch it, and when you use it, you know the material is come from nature.
The organization buys and uses Tum's sisal paper to produce postcards, jewelry, and artwork. The proceeds help support artisans who are working to keep sisal paper alive in their community. Yoon is also working to teach more young people and encourage them to use the paper.
We combine between the traditional value and also like contemporary and modern designs for young people. They are more interested in this craft.
In the last 9 years, the ZA Project has reached dozens of young artisans across Vietnam. It also restored a sense of pride in traditional paper makers.
Vừa vất vả mà vừa phải có tay nghề, vừa phải có sức khỏe, nhiều thứ lắm.
For this community of paper makers, this craft has become a labor of love.
Bởi vì tôi cũng yêu nghề, cho nên tôi mới làm được lâu năm như thế. Nếu như cái nghề này của anh mà bị mai một đi thì rất là tiếc lắm.
Hi, this is the Still Standing team. Over the past year, we've met artisans from around the world who preserve traditional methods and techniques, like preparing soy sauce in Japan, cleaning leather in Morocco, and making the perfect mirrors in India. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe to see more stories about the people keeping centuries-old traditions alive. And if you have an idea for a video you'd like to see, let us know in the comments. Thank you.